Ladies and gentlemen, every morning you wake up is another chance to become someone greater than you were yesterday. It's another chance to break through the barriers of mediocrity and step into the mindset of a millionaire. Let's be clear from the very beginning, millionaires are not created by chance, by magic, or by a lucky lottery ticket. They are forged by disciplined routines, consistent effort, and powerful mindsets. And it all starts with how they begin their day. The morning routine of a millionaire is sacred. It's not something they do when they feel like it. It's not based on mood, laziness, or convenience. It's a non-negotiable contract they have signed with themselves. They understand that the way you start your day determines how you live your life. Benjamin Franklin once said, "Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise." That wasn't just a quote, it was a principle he lived by. When you roll out of bed with no plan, no intention, and no clarity, you've already surrendered control of your day. But when you rise with purpose, discipline, and hunger, you've already won half the battle. The millionaire doesn't start the day by checking Instagram, scrolling through news feeds, or snoozing the alarm 5 times. No, they rise early. They rise before the world does. Because in those quiet hours, the mind is sharp, the world is still, and opportunities are abundant. Success is not a random act. It's a deliberate act. Steve Jobs used to start his mornings by looking in the mirror and asking himself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? That level of intentionality forces you to reflect on your priorities, your path, and your purpose. It forces you to think bigger. The Millionaire Morning Routine is built on 5 key pillars: early rising, gratitude, movement, visualization, and strategy. And while every successful individual might add their own unique flavor to it, these principles remain constant. Why? Because they work. Early rising is more than just waking up at 5 a.m. It's about rising before excuses do. It's about rising before the demands of the world flood your mind. The moment you take ownership of your morning, you start controlling your destiny. Robin Sharma once said, "Own your morning. Elevate your life." That is not just poetic, it's strategic. Gratitude is the fuel that energizes a millionaire's spirit. They understand that wealth without appreciation is poverty. Before they even step out of bed, they count their blessings. They don't focus on what's missing, they focus on what's present. As Oprah Winfrey puts it, be thankful for what you have, you'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. And then there is movement. Millionaires don't wait until their body breaks down before they pay attention to it. They exercise not because they want 6-pack abs, but because energy is currency. A sharp body creates a sharp mind. Tony Robbins jumps into a cold plunge every morning. David Goggins runs miles before the sun even thinks of rising. They move because motion creates emotion. And that emotion is what drives excellence. After physical movement comes mental movement, visualization. Millionaires visualize their goals before they chase them. They don't hope for success, they see it, feel it, and walk into it. Arnold Schwarzenegger once said, "The mind is the limit." As long as the mind can envision the fact that you can do something, you can do it. That's not a theory. That's a blueprint. If you can see the life you want and you pursue it every single morning with focus, nothing can stop you. And then strategy, the final and perhaps most overlooked pillar. Millionaires plan their day before the day controls them. They don't leave it to chance. They know exactly what their top 3 priorities are. They know what must get done. They don't confuse being busy with being productive. As Jim Rohn once said, don't start the day until you have it finished on paper. Clarity is power. Confusion is expensive. Every morning is a strategic meeting with your destiny. But here's what separates the talkers from the doers: consistency. It's not about having the perfect routine once in a while. It's about showing up daily. Denzel Washington said, "Without commitment, you'll never start. Without consistency, you'll never finish." A millionaire's morning is not glamorous. It's not flashy. It's quiet, disciplined, and intentional. It's where empires begin, not on stages, not in meetings, but in bedrooms at dawn. You might say, "I'm not a morning person." That's not truth, that's conditioning. Every champion trains themselves to rise when it's hard. You train your body. You train your mindset. You train your habits. You don't wait to feel ready. Jocko Willink said, "Discipline equals freedom." And that freedom starts at sunrise. Do you want to be free from debt, worry, and mediocrity? Then pay the price of discipline. The cost of success is always paid in advance. You cannot reap what you didn't plant. And the seeds of greatness are always planted in the morning. Understand this, the morning routine is not about perfection. It's about direction. Some days will be harder than others. But winners don't need ideal conditions to act. They rise and grind even when the motivation isn't there. They rise because their dreams demand it. Every great leader, entrepreneur, and millionaire you admire had a choice, to snooze or to shine. They chose to shine. Warren Buffett reads for hours in the morning. Elon Musk schedules his day down to 5-minute slots. Tim Cook wakes up at 3:45 a.m. They don't do this to impress you. They do it to dominate their industry. Success leaves clues. You just have to be wise enough to follow them. You cannot expect to live a first-class life with a third-class morning. That's like planting weeds and expecting roses. Your morning reveals your commitment. It reveals your seriousness. It reveals your future. The world doesn't care about your dreams until you show up like they matter. So rise with urgency. Rise with clarity. Rise with conviction. Because every sunrise is a new contract with your potential. The truth is, you are already capable of becoming a millionaire. It's not about money, it's about mindset. A broke man with a millionaire routine will always outgrow a rich man with lazy habits. As Eric Thomas once said, everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do. Be willing to do what others won't so you can live how others can't. And don't let your current situation define your ambition. Millionaires were once broke. They were once unknown. They were once doubted. But they decided to rise earlier, think clearer, and work harder. Will Smith said, "I've never really viewed myself as particularly talented. Where I excel is ridiculous, sickening work ethic. You can't fake discipline. You earn results through relentless consistency. When you win the morning, you win the day. And when you win enough days, you win the year. That's how fortunes are built, not overnight, but every morning. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Start with your morning. Protect it. Build it. Honor it. And watch your entire life change. You want more confidence? Start your morning with victory. You want more wealth? Start your morning with strategy. You want more joy? Start your morning with gratitude. The things you desire are waiting for you to develop the discipline to pursue them. Success is not found in the big things we do once, it's found in the small things we do daily. And nothing is more consistent than a morning routine. Michelangelo said, "If people knew how hard I worked to gain my mastery, it wouldn't seem so wonderful at all." What seems effortless from the outside is actually a reflection of unseen discipline. This is your wake-up call. Not an alarm clock, but a life clock. Time is passing. Dreams are fading. Potential is being wasted. Don't sleep on the life you could have. Wake up like your life depends on it, because it does. And when the world sees your results, they'll ask, "What changed?" And you'll smile knowing it all started with one simple decision to take your mornings seriously. So rise and grind. Not for applause. Not for validation. But because your future self is counting on you to win this morning, today, and every day forward. You see, people often wonder what the difference is between the successful and the struggling. They think it's luck, background, education, or connections. But when you look closer, it always comes down to discipline. It's the way they command their mornings. The millionaire doesn't wait for circumstances to be favorable, they create favorable conditions through preparation and repetition. Every morning is an opportunity to reset. An opportunity to declare war on distraction, laziness, and delay. While the average person hits snooze, the millionaire hits the ground running. Not because it's easy. Not because it's natural. But because it's necessary. Muhammad Ali once said, "I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion." Your morning is that training ground. It's where you suffer in silence so you can succeed in public. And no, it doesn't matter if you don't feel like it. Feelings don't build empires, habits do. Millionaires are not driven by comfort, they're driven by vision. They're fueled by what could be. They rise, not because they have to, but because they refuse to live a life that's beneath their potential. You were not born to wake up late, live small, and repeat average days. You were born to lead, create, and thrive. But that destiny is hidden in your discipline. It doesn't start when you get the job, the money, or the applause. It starts the moment you say, "I will no longer waste my mornings." That moment is the beginning of transformation. And transformation always starts in private. Long before the world notices. That's the beauty of it. The world sees the success, the cars, the accolades, but it never sees the alarm going off at 4:30 a.m. It never sees the lonely discipline. It never sees the sacrifice. But that's where winners are built. The morning routine of a millionaire is not just about getting things done. It's about becoming someone different. It's about stepping into the identity of a leader, a creator, a visionary. It's about raising your standards so high that you no longer tolerate excuses. You no longer allow yourself to drift. You show up with clarity, confidence, and intensity, because that's what your dreams require. You must understand that mornings are leverage. They're your edge in a distracted world. When everyone else is overwhelmed, reactive, and unfocused, you are calm, centered, and driven. Why? Because you trained your mind when it was hardest. You trained your mind when the world was still asleep. And that advantage is what multiplies results over time. Small wins create big victories. Drinking water, journaling your intentions, stretching, reviewing your goals, these aren't just habits. They are identity-forming actions. Each one tells your mind, "This is who I am now." And when you repeat that message every morning, your subconscious listens. It begins to believe. And once belief changes, behavior follows. But the biggest myth is that this routine is only for the rich. That's not true. The routine makes you rich. Rich in clarity. Rich in discipline. Rich in results. Rich in self-respect. Anyone can wake up early. Anyone can practice gratitude. Anyone can move their body. Anyone can plan their day. It's not about where you are right now. It's about what you're willing to do to change it. Jeff Bezos said, "I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret that. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not trying." The morning is your chance to try every single day. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. Miss one morning? Get back up. Fall off track? Realign. This is not about never falling. It's about never quitting. Millionaires fall too. But they don't stay down. They don't make excuses. They make adjustments. And remember this, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. If you approach your morning with sloppiness, you will approach your life the same way. If you approach your morning with excellence, that energy will ripple into every conversation, every project, every decision. The morning isn't just a part of the day, it's the foundation of it. People will look at you differently when you change your morning. They'll ask why you're glowing, why you're always ahead, why you're more focused, more confident, more creative. And you'll know the answer. You'll know that while others slept, you were preparing. You were building. You were becoming. The routine you adopt is more powerful than the motivation you chase. Motivation comes and goes. But routines are reliable. They don't ask how you feel. They just guide your actions. And the right actions, done repeatedly, will produce the life you dream about. So what are you waiting for? A sign? This is it. This is the wake-up call you've been ignoring. This is the moment to rewrite the story. Stop saying you're not a morning person. Start becoming a disciplined person. Because the truth is, success doesn't care what time you prefer. Success responds to structure. And that structure starts with a morning that reflects your greatness. Ask yourself, what would the millionaire version of me do right now? Would they sleep in? Or would they rise with fire in their soul? Would they hit snooze? Or would they hit the ground with purpose? Every day, you are either moving closer to that version or away from it. There is no standing still. And know this. The people you admire, the ones whose lives inspire you, they are not more special than you. They just made a decision to win the morning. They made a vow to start each day with clarity, control, and courage. You can make that decision too. You can begin right now. You can set your alarm, prepare your environment, and declare that from this day forward, your mornings will never be wasted again. No more checking social media first thing. No more chaos. No more regret. Instead, hydration, meditation, visualization, exercise, planning, execution. These are not luxuries. They are essentials. These are the bricks with which you will build your empire. And as the days turn to weeks and the weeks to months, you'll begin to see the shift. You'll feel different, think different, operate different. Your confidence will grow not because you faked it, but because you earned it. You'll walk into rooms with presence. You'll speak with power. You'll make decisions with precision. Why? Because you prepared. Because you owned your mornings. Nothing changes until you change your habits. Nothing improves until you improve your routines. It's not about motivation. It's about mechanics. You don't need to feel inspired. You need to be structured. You don't need to get hyped. You need to get organized. And that's what the Millionaire Morning is. Organization for your dreams. Don't let another week pass you by. Don't keep saying, "I'll start next month." Time is not waiting. The world is moving fast, and only the focused will thrive. Start now. Start small. Start strong. Even if it's just 10 minutes tomorrow, make it count. Wake up with purpose. Stretch. Breathe. Reflect. Read. Plan. Then execute. You don't need $1 million to start living like a millionaire. You need a millionaire mindset. And that mindset is cultivated every single morning you choose growth over comfort, discipline over delay, purpose over procrastination. This is the secret they won't tell you on TV. This is the truth that separates winners from wishers. It's not about hype. It's about habit. Not about luck. About routine. And now that you know it, you have no excuse. You have the map. You have the method. All that's left is the decision. So tomorrow morning, when that alarm rings, ask yourself one question. Am I ready to build my legacy? If the answer is yes, then rise. Rise with fire. Rise with focus. Rise with the mindset of a millionaire and never look back.